So I heard this story about a man who wanted to get in shape. He wanted to lose some weight and get fit again. So he went to the gym and he spent 3 hours exercising. The next day, it took him about 6 hours just to get out of bed. I don't know if you can identify with that, but it's a funny story that I think speaks to something about us, that a certain way that we think that's not really helpful. If you want to lose weight, you want the weight, maybe you want to lose 5 kilograms, you want it off next week. If you want to start reading more of the Bible, you want to read through the Bible in a day. If you want to achieve a certain goal, it's almost like in the moment that we want it. We want to hear God speak, and we want this evening to be the time when we hear Him perfectly, speak to Him like a friend. Those situations, I think, speaks to a mindset or an attitude that we have that's very unhelpful in the long run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we shouldn't have goals and we shouldn't desire to lose weight or get fit or hear God speak or, read the Bible more or finish a project at work, achieve a goal that we set. Those desires are good. I mean, who sets a goal that they don't want to achieve? So pursuing it is great. But I want us to just take a step back and just think about this in a fresh way.
Just a quick note. This might be helpful to you. You're doing a lot right now, but you're still not feeling clear. There's pressures and decisions and responsibilities. And in the midst of all this, you're feeling stuck. It's not because you're incapable, but it's because everything feels noisy and unclear. This is what we do. A simple conversation. Take a step back, clear your thinking, find your next move. No pressure, no commitment, just clarity. If you think this could be helpful, book your free Zoom call now, and let's find your next step together. You can find the link in the comments below. Just click to book your free Zoom call.
The problem comes in when we place the weight of significance in the wrong place. You see, we add so much weight to the end result that we actually miss something that's very important in the getting there. Think about yourself for a moment. If you want to lose weight or you want to get fit, that goal, that specific weight or that ability to do a certain exercise or race, whatever, the weight that we place on achieving it often is far more important to us than the journey that it takes to get there. Now, the abundant life is about much more than just the end goal. The abundant life is about the journey, not just the destination. And it's about being present in the moment and getting the most out of life while we take the steps to get there. You see, it's not just about getting to the better place or achieving the goal. It's about putting our lives on a track that will actually get us to a better place. So a better track, not just a better place. If we focus on that, if we focus on the journey, then the track will sort out the destination. Think about these examples. If you want to lose weight and you focus on the journey, you focus on eating healthy, exercising, doing things that's good for your health, at the end of the day, as you follow the track, as you're on the journey, you're going to get to a place where your weight is less, where your health is better, or where you get stronger. The same way, if we think about a relationship goal or a project at work, whatever it might be, building your dream life, if we only focus on the end result, only focus on the goal, we're selling ourselves short. God is in the journey. He's not just at the end. Now, we often think about heaven. Everybody wants to get to heaven, right? But very few of us want to walk the walk that Jesus called us to walk. You see, when the people who love Jesus started changing the world, the stories we read of in Acts and in early church history, they were actually called the people of the way. They weren't called Christians. In some small places they were called Christians, but they were known as the people of the way. And a way speaks about walking. It speaks about taking steps, following the life that Jesus lived. Now, for us to pursue our abundant life, it's helpful to shift our perspective. It's helpful to rethink this. And I'm not saying that the end result doesn't matter. It is important. But how we think about the journey is very, very powerful. So change starts when we shift the weight of significance to actually include the journey, not just the end destination. Think again about this. A physical, more healthy living. What we do day to day actually will lead us there if that is tied in with the goal. If it's living healthy day to day, it will get us to that place. Wanting to work on a relationship, building a friendship. We want the end results, but the focus on what's going to work today, what's going to shift today actually leads us to that place. It's important for us to remember that the small daily steps that we take is super powerful. And there's two keys that I want to give you that will actually help us shift that weight and make the journey a focus. Number one is be intentional. And number two is be consistent. You see, small little steps over time builds a momentum. Consistency builds a momentum. Being intentional sets the direction. And if we can focus on that, and we sometimes think, we want to, like I said, read through the Bible in a day. We want to, spend 6 hours in the gym and then be, in perfect shape. But small, consistent steps are actually a super powerful tool in your life. If your intentionality is there and your direction is there, you can be consistent and you will see a result. I heard someone say this. He said, I'll suck, but I won't slip. And what he meant was he was trying to get fit. And he said, I'll rather go to the gym and do a terrible workout than not go. The one day that you skip or slip, it's easier to not do it the next day and then double so the day after. But if you go, even if you do a terrible workout, it's going to be easier to go the next day again. And you see, those small steps, they build momentum. And it doesn't have to be earth-shattering every time. And I think that's where we lose it sometimes, because we want the hoo-ha, we want the fanfare, and we want the big results. We'll get there, but we must learn to celebrate the small faithfulness, the small obedience, the small little steps that actually takes us towards our goal. Even micro movements, we must learn to celebrate them, because God is in the movement. Jesus is in the movement. So even in our walk with God, we sometimes think, we want to lay down our lives for Him. We want to, have these incredible experiences. And then sometimes we wonder why it never happens. Well, let's shift our perspective. Sometimes in the mundane, in the daily, the almost insignificant, there's small moments where we can be obedient that will actually build a momentum. You see, as we are faithful in the little, God entrusts us with the more and the more, whether it's something as spiritual as hearing God speak or as non-spiritual as a project at work. When we are faithful, when we are committed, when we are disciplined in those small little steps, daily things, small wins, we actually build a momentum that when we look back over time, we'll see an incredible change. Sometimes what happens is we have these lofty goals, these massive high goals, and I believe we should have big dreams. But sometimes those big dreams paralyze us. They're so big that I think, well, I'll never be able to achieve it. And then we end up doing nothing. So if we can break that down and say, what's the smallest thing, the smallest step that I can take towards my goal that I can do today? Immediately we start moving towards that goal. So if we can learn to celebrate those small little wins and live in that moment with God, we're going to build that goal that we want to achieve almost by default, almost without noticing it, because we are focused on doing what we can do now, being faithful in the small obedience, being faithful in the next step that I need to take. And in that way, we actually establish a change that can last. And there's beautiful things that will flow out of that. There'll be a richness to life if we can realize that it's not just about the end result, but it's about the journey. It's about this day, what I do today. Because in this day, God is with us. And that's the second thing that you'll notice is you'll notice that your friendship with God actually grows. Because like I mentioned earlier, He's in the little things. He's in the day-to-day. He's in the daily grind. And if we can realize that and shift a weight of significance to that, man, that's going to be beautiful. You'll see growth. You will grow. Even if you just, train a little bit every day, you'll see a difference. You don't have to do 1,000 push-ups in one day. You can do 10, 4 or 5 times. And that will build muscle in your body. In the same way, in our relationships at work, that same principle will prove to you that there's growth. And here's a nice little spin-off from it. Doing something that's really mundane can suddenly have a depth to it, a beauty to it. Because I'm not just going through the motions. I'm actually doing something with God. I'm obedient in those small things, and it's actually moving me towards a much bigger picture. So let me ask you this. That goal that you are intentional about achieving, what is one small little step that you can take today that will move you towards that end? Once you know what that is, why don't you ask the Holy Spirit to take the next step with you? And then just go and do it. You see, we won't get to that desired end result if we don't start moving. And even small steps are powerful. Why don't you, in the comments, write down and tell us what's that one little step that you can take today towards your desired goal. I'd love to hear your story. And again, won't you subscribe? Won't you like? Won't you share this with a friend? We would really appreciate that. Remember, your better tomorrow, it starts today. And a start can just be a micro movement. Be blessed.